The Honourable Minister for Indigenous and Northern Relations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to recognize National Aboriginal Veterans Day. Today is our opportunity as Manitobans to acknowledge and honour the many Indigenous men and women who have served our country in times of war, conflict, and peace. Manitoba was the first province to recognize National Aboriginal Veterans Day in 1994. This important day has since grown to become recognized all across Canada. And every year in various parts of the country, you will find commemorations and ceremonies to honor Indigenous people who have served in the First World War, Second World War, and Korean War. It is estimated that roughly 12,000 Indigenous people joined the Canadian military to serve in these global conflicts. They served with honor and distinction in all branches of the armed forces, and their bravery and sacrifice are written within the pages of history. Many of these men and women had to endure additional challenges, such as cultural differences and language barriers. Despite these challenges, the valuable skills they brought that stem from their traditions made them excellent sailors, pilots, and soldiers. For those of us here in Manitoba, we are proud to honor local heroes such as Sergeant Tommy Prince, a veteran of the Second World War and Military Medal and Silver Star recipient. Sergeant Prince was an Ojibwe from Manitoba who volunteered and served valiantly in the Second World War with the 1st Special Service Force, known as the Devil's Brigade. He later re-enlisted to serve within the 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry in the Korean War with United Nations forces. Throughout the 3 years, Indigenous women also made important and valuable contributions to Canada's military. Indigenous women contributed overseas, often as nurses, while the women at home would support in war efforts by helping raise money and by aiding in the manufacturing of key materials and supplies required by the Canadian troops. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to spend time with some of the Manitoba's Indigenous veterans. It was truly a privilege to sit amongst heroes and listen to the stories of courage and determination, and I spent this morning at their services. Just as I will never forget the time we spent together, I ask my colleagues and all Manitobans to never forget the many Indigenous men and women who have sacrificed their lives so that Canadians might live a life of peace and inherent freedom. To never forget those who have served our country and who have come home in need of comfort and support. And to never forget those who still serve in our country so that we as Canadians can remain strong and free. To the 6 amazing individuals who sat with me this week and shared their stories, and the thousands of Indigenous men and women who so selflessly served and continue to serve our country, thank you.